Before I even attempt to take that out, I might have a look, see if I've got one or two. I might have a spare one in my bearing set. They're nice and tight. And again, undo them crisscross. Oh dear. They are very tight. Well. Unbelievably tight. Well, we'll put our screwdriver attachment on again. Six of these. And again, because as I said to you before, because I like to see the names, you know, the screws or whatever, manufacturers things, you know which way you've had it on before, which is always wise. Two more. And I have to find out the M6 screws again. I've got washers on there. They're a bit of a fiddly job to get them out, to be honest. They don't stop the plate from coming off anyway, so what I tend to do is just leave them, because I don't really reuse them anyway. So I mean, I can reuse that. One's a good one. That beast there's a good one. They go flat like that, see that one? And there's no spring in them no more. It'd be a waste of time using that one. But I have got new ones, as you know, for the GP engine. Use a set of there we go, that's one. Oh, it's actually broke. That shows you how tight they were in. That washer was broken. Wow. I must have been feeling energetic that day, because I don't torque these, as you know. I just do them tight and a quarter turn. You do get a feel for it, but I didn't realise they were that tight. Take all out. That washer's perfectly usable. You know looking at them whether they've had it or not. They tend to go flat, they lose their spring. And this is a weak spot on any Lambretta engine casing. In fact, there's another one there. If you get the circuit tool in properly, they just come straight out. Last one. Of course, the last one's going to fight me in it, because that's gone flat. That one's a flat one. Just as I cut away, I'll find them straight away, but that's life, isn't it? So what we need to do is put the 10mm back on again, which is that one, and just screw them in till they touch the engine case. That one's just touching. And then take alternative turns to turn these up. Right, so that's turning. That's turning. Do them about 2 turns each. Can you hear that? You can sort of judge it by the screw heads as well. And I should be able to get that washer off now quite easily. There you go, that one. It's still got a bit of spring on it. Not very good. Not when you compare what they should be like. What's happening at the moment is the Christmas tree's coming out with it. That needs to be knocked back in. We'll do that in a second. So that's on the edge of where the screws are at the moment. And it's still coming. What I suggest you do is knock that with a metal hammer. I've got the wooden end of the thing. Just that's it, it's starting to go in now. Everything is so cold today, it's almost jammed up. I mean, yeah, I can still turn that. What we can do as well is just hit there. What we're doing then, some people put screwdrivers behind here. I think then you're going to damage the spacing washer there, the shim. I'll do that a couple of turns more again. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see that's coming out at an angle? That's stuck in there. That's why I always say just knock there, just to keep it straight. Do you hear the note change? Because it's basically level again. And we can do these up a bit more again. I think we're pulling the whole gearbox out here. Yeah, we are. That's it, it's free. So it's still stuck on the Christmas tree, but it's free. It's free enough to remove anyway. We're going to take the gears with us doing it this way. That's it. So ideally you want to knock that through. It's still just slightly on the back spline, the lay shaft. I'll carry on doing that a bit more. Put it back in line again. Another tap. That's off the spline now. So right, can undo them. Pardon me. It's not under pressure now, the gears are starting to fall off. This might take all of the gears with us or just one, but we still need to knock that through again. I'm not using any parts from this anyway, but it's no use destroying stuff, is it, for the sake of it? It's a waste of money, especially if all of this stuff demands high prices now. You've got a nice gearbox like that. I'm going to get a load of oil coming out again. So let's get my rag. So it's amazing how much oil is in these things. Let's see if that will pull off. So ideally you'd knock that Christmas tree off of that, but we can do that out of it anyway. And again, like I always do, you just stick that gear back in for a second. If we look at the gears, take the shim off. What you're looking for is inside here, any cuts to the gears. They're absolutely perfect. All these teeth are good. Like I say, I wonder how many miles that engine's done prior to me rebuilding it. But absolutely brilliant. What's not to love? And again, with number 2, checking all the squares and all the cogs, wear and tear. You can actually measure if you've got the correct tools to measure them, and see if they've worn out at all. They shouldn't do. Again, I'm just having a quick look at that one. Absolutely mint. All the Innocenti markings on. And number 4. The best way to count them is keep your finger on one and just work your way around. Like this one, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 34 Li 150. A lot of these first gear are the same on a lot of the scooters, so we count that should be around 50. 1, 2, 3, 4. 48, 49, 50. 50. It is, I know it's an allied gearbox anyway. So we can stick that in its box. Along with the bearing. Bearing on the back of the Christmas tree. And shim. I had to put 2 shims on there for the chain. That just goes to show. I've got 2 shims behind there to move the Christmas tree out, so that the so it would fit basically with the chain, because you want the chain level. I can't even remember doing that, so there you go. And again, that was a new bearing, lovely and free. I'll knock that through in a bit. Greased up to the eyeballs, or oiled up to the eyeballs again. On these Innocenti gearboxes, this is different than the GP one. It's got like a, I think the later ones had a washer behind it, but these have got like a step lip. Yeah, I wonder if I shimmed it, because it looks like I've got some rubbing on there. I really can't remember. Like I say, it's 4 or 5 years since I built this, but you can see a little bit of shiny mark there and there. That could have been now. And then we've got our bearing, our shim, and our lay shaft. You can knock the lay shaft through. Some people, again, they knock these, leave this on, the sliding dog, and slide, you know, basically leave this built up. It's still pretty square, that. They're not bad at all. I could reuse that one. And again, Innocenti. If you're ever in doubt what you've got in your scooter engine, if it's got Innocenti on it, then obviously, I know I'm speaking stupidly, but then you have got Italian stuff generally. Never seen anything Innocenti copy like that. I don't know whether it's too hard to do. I really don't know. I don't make this stuff, so I only put them together, take them apart. These pulls here, the little, they can be loose, they can be tight. These ones are 50-50, I would say. You could, that might be your oil locked in there, but don't need the studs. What I'm going to do is just put the screws back on, nuts even. Bear in mind we've got one broken one. That way we can't lose them, can we? As I say, all the name towards you. That way you know you've got the engine built correctly back. We've only got one broken washer. That one seems tight on that one. There you go, it's gone on there. And that way round again. And what I'm going to do is just tighten them up so they can't wiggle loose. If nothing else, what it does is it protects the threads. So change that to an 11. No, you don't, I caught you. And just give them a bit of a turn up when they're safe. As I say, I'll probably be using the back brakes from this. They were new. Pretty recently I got a new hub, and I know they're both bedded in together, so they should be alright. I say when I built the GP and put them shoes on, I knew possibility I won't be using them. So, and the same with this lever, because it's in better nick than the rusted up one. Back brake lever, and that's interesting. The circlips disappeared from that. Yeah. You shouldn't be able to do what I've just done there and take that off. It should be held on with a circlip. Got the washer or shim, and then we've got the oil seal stroke O-ring. That post can just push in, although it's under pressure at the moment. I just want to get this cable through if I can out the way. I will be replacing the back brake cable. Again, it's false economy not to. There we go. I need these to be reused again anyway, so there we go. One new and one old. That's an old one, that's a new one. No reason to use whatever you want, basically. I don't need any of this, any shifter assembly or any stirrup. The one that I've got there in the GP is pretty good. Right, I don't know if that'll go if we push it back. Yeah, it did. I'll need the other ball bearing, and don't lose them. I'll use a hook on it. And hook it out. and of course drop it straight on the floor. That's a nice soft spring. I don't know, you haven't got the feel watching it on video, but the actual mechanism itself, the sliding dog, it just literally spun straight away. It wasn't under any pressure turning it. Move that out of the way, bring it forward, and it should just come off the stirrups like it has done. And again, you're looking for square, and that one's really good. That one's totally usable again. Right, so I need my box again to put my bits in. I'll be putting the shim, etc. all in here. The two balls, not them ones, these ones. Shims. I will, however, be using that lever. Any gently markings on it. Put my hook. Just move it around this way. Because we've got our crank out now, this engine basically is toast once I get the bearing out, the rear hub bearing. So we'll do that first. I was going to knock this through and clear the brakes, but we'll do it with the rear hub first, seeing as we've got the 10mm socket built up. And get whatever's underneath that leg out of the way. So right, so we're doing this. Let's get our M10 again. That's 11 on there. Extension. That goes in there. That one goes back in there. Dog away. I'll not be using the big socket for a little while. Right. Never fails to amaze me how this stuff disappears. That's a 10. Right, so again we need to undo these four. Again, they're nice and tight. Crisscross. We're putting all this furniture back on here. Don't need it. What we will be doing though is we'll be taking this collar off because that matches with the hub. These are original hub nuts. They're quite thick. I've just got a notification my battery's dying, so I'll cut away while I do this because we have done this numerous occasions. Take these off and then I'll put a new battery in and kick back in again when that's off, ready to knock the axle through. Right, let's put some more gloves on. Just change them to put a new battery in. As you can see, I've taken the brake shoes off. and all we've got now is our MB bearing left in its position, which I do want to reuse. So what I'm going to do with this is just warm up the casing. Let's do that back in there. In fact, let's take that out. Not going to do no harm. I'm going to warm up the casing, turn it around and knock it out with the wooden end of the hammer. That's our lay shaft. Absolutely a bit rusty if I'm being totally honest, but in as good condition as all the threads are good as you're going to get. And again, I think they're like 60-70 quid to buy. So right, so what I'm going to do is warm up this around the edge, not the bearing itself, just the casing. A bit of gas. You notice I'm keeping it away from the oil seal. So we could reuse that lay shaft if you want, but I'm using all the stuff out of the GP that was built up in that GP. It's an Innocenti one I'm using anyway, so. It doesn't need a lot of heat. I don't know why, but these don't seem to take a lot to knock in and out. That'll do. That should be enough. All we need to do now is turn the engine around. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Spin the engine around. That is quite hot actually in that short of time. And then just, you see what I mean, how easy that came out. And I don't know if you can see that, but the MB ones have got a bearing oil seal that sits around the edge. I'm not sure if that's actually needed or not, but MB Race Tour, you'll never be able to read it, but I do love people who think, oh, that's knackered because I can't turn it. That's not a worn out bearing, I can assure you. No way. Right, that's more or less as far as I want to go with this engine, so I'm going to cut away and put the GP engine up on the stand, and we'll start putting some bits and bobs in that. I'll start that as a new video, so hopefully you've gained something. I'm not boring everybody to death taking stuff in and out, but it is life, innit? So I'm leaving all the rest of the stuff on this engine, and I'll cut back in. We'll start the next series of videos with the GP engine casing on. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.